Okay, I hope you enjoyed that break and got to meet somebody new. We're going to go ahead and begin the second half of our program. Anyone who has a conversation that you would like to continue, we just ask that you would take it out into the hallway. Sound does cause a big disruption in this area. I knew there was something I was forgetting to announce, and that is our club picnic. Angela Mattingly has worked very hard to arrange our picnic. It is May 4th, Saturday, at the Breckenridge Park, parking lot C. That is in Richardson, Texas. It's approximately 35 minutes from this location. I hope you'll come out and join us. It's a great time. We have a contest for a main dish made with honey. We have a couple qualifications. Again, in the B line, you can find the specifics or online in our website. We would really love to have you all come. Just bring a dish to share. There's a contest for main meat dish, for side dish, and for dessert with cash prizes. Something new this year is we will have teaching booths set up. If you would like to do a teaching booth, how to catch a swarm, some piece of equipment you've designed, or if you want to impart your knowledge about how to take care of top bars, anything beekeeping related, you can set up, you bring your own table, set up a booth, and we'll have a special booth time where you can, people can just roam around and learn different aspects of beekeeping from you. And again, we hope to have some prizes for that as well. And I'll let Lisa introduce our special guest. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, one more thing. Stop, start, stop, start. By the way, if anybody was hoping to go to Beekeeping 101, that class is going to take place right now during the second half of the meeting across the hallway, room 122. Please see Mike and pay your $5 and show your receipt at the door. Okay, the last four numbers are 1387. All right, we got a winner. Thanks, Mike.
Good evening. Glad you guys are here. Hope you're ready for a great presentation. Before I introduce our speaker, I wanted to mention a couple of things in our slides. Be Informed Partnership, you've heard us talk about them before. That is a consortium that is doing a lot of useful research on beekeeping, how to help keep our bees healthy, how to fight varroa mites. They have tech teams that will come out to your apiary and inspect to see if you have a problem. You can, you have to pay for it, but you can call them and they'll come out and help diagnose your problem. Be Informed Partnership does an annual colony loss survey, and if you'll, either jot down this information or go to the website where we're going to post the presentation to get the link. It's through the month of April. Doesn't matter if you have 1 hive, you have 10 hives, 100 hives. They want as many beekeepers as possible completing that survey because it's going to help them understand colony losses across the country. And you can access their past reports to see what colony losses have been year over year. It's pretty interesting. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, the next big thing in beekeeping schools is the Texas Beekeepers Association Summer Clinic, Saturday, June 22nd in Conroe, Texas. They're bringing in Dr. Keith Delaplane, very renowned national speaker, really good presenter, and he'll do the keynote introduction in the morning, and then he'll close out the meeting, so you'll actually get to hear him twice. And I think the way they're working the schedule now, you'll get to pick 5 classes throughout the day. Brand new beekeeper, beginning beekeeper, intermediate, advanced, 50 different topics you could pick from. So if you haven't gone to one of these all-day seminars, this is really the best one you could start with. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay. Now, I want to introduce our speaker. Michelle Borst is actually a former member of Collin County Hobby Beekeepers, and she was driving here from Denton to attend our meetings, and she decided she'd had enough of that, so she's actually a founding member of the Denton County Beekeepers Association. She's also in the second class for the Texas Master Beekeeping Program to get her Master Beekeeper certification. So she is a Master Beekeeper, and she started beekeeping like I did in John Talbert's, what does he call it? Mastering the art of beekeeping or something?
My son was a scholarship student, and he had to have a parent attend.
Okay, so anyway, let me introduce, Michelle's got a whole lot of other things she can tell you about herself. Michelle Borst, thanks.
Thank you. Hi, I'm so glad to be here. If you'll give me a second, I'll pull up my presentation. And the clicker. And of course, I call it Fun with Swarms because only beekeepers find swarms fun. I don't think most other people do. So this is my beekeeping story. This is my son, Tim. He was an FFA student. He came home and he said, "Mom, I'd like to have a goat in the backyard." And I said, "No, I think we should have bees." And we found Collin County Hobby Beekeepers Association. He was accepted as a scholarship student. I had to go to the classes as an adult, so of course I got a hive as well. We were hobby beekeepers with 2 hives. And then as Lisa said, I was on Monday nights, trying to get after work down 380 from Denton, and it was a nightmare. And there was a lady that was trying to start a club in Denton, and I jumped in and said, "How can I help?" So we started that in 2015. Some of the people there decided that they were going to try to take the first test in the Master Beekeeping Program. So I said, sure, why not? It'll be fun. The first test was a lot of fun. The second test was less fun, and the third test was even less fun. But it's definitely worth it. It's hard. I have 1 more level to go. It takes 2 years to get to the next level, and I just started on that one. We went from hobby to sideliner business last year. And this is our scholarship class. My son is the little one there. He's now 6'4". He's a big old guy. And there's John. This was a great class. We had a lot of fun. This is our company, Bursting Bees. We're in Aubrey, Texas. Everybody knows that, sorry. This was the first swarm I ever caught. This is about 2 feet off the ground. It was on a fence post. We slid a box underneath of it. I drove out in the field, and I took a broom, brushed them into the box, went home, came back. They were all in the box, and we loaded it up and came home. And so that was kind of why we decided swarms would be sort of fun to keep picking up. So honeybees reproduce in 2 ways. There's your regular way where she's a queen laying eggs, doing your reproduction in the hive. And the second way, the second way is a whole colony reproduction, and that is your swarm. That is where half your hive leaves and takes off, and the rest of the hive is left. So why are swarms so gentle? So stinging is a defense mechanism. So what happens when you see a swarm? They have no brood, no food, no hive. They have nothing to defend. Swarms are super great. You can just walk right up. It depends on what I'm doing. I usually don't wear any gear, maybe some gloves. I put them in whatever, cardboard box. I put them in my car. I drive them home. I don't worry too much about them. They're super gentle. They're super nice. I enjoy it. But that's why they're so gentle. So you want to recognize swarm conditions in two places, in your hives and in your environment. So in your hive, swarm conditions are likely when you have a high population of bees. This is a high population of bees. There's a lot more bees inside that hive than there are on the outside. This hive should have swarmed probably several times over, and it just didn't for some reason. And so we split that almost as soon as we got it. It was a hive that was given to us by someone who had neglected it. Whoops. Nope. Swarming is likely when you see drone cells. These are your drone cells. These are your regular capped brood. More drone cells. When your hive swarms and the old hive, the new queen is left with the old hive, she needs to mate. So if you don't have drone cells and you don't have drones out there in the drone congregation areas, she will not mate. So that's one of the first signs. Lots of eggs and brood. This is a great pattern. Like Blake was talking about your shotgun pattern, this is an awesome pattern. When you see this, she is wall-to-wall laying eggs. This is a prime swarm condition. If you're honey bound in your brood box, if your queen doesn't have any place to lay, if she has frames of honey, pollen, nectar, she has no place to go, she's going to be feeling full, she's going to think about swarming. If your honey's super full, if you have a honey super on top of your brood box and it is packed full of honey, frames full of honey, again, they're going to feel like they're very, very full. They're going to feel like they're going to get into swarm mode. Genetics. Sometimes you just have a queen and they just swarm. They just swarm several times a year. They just do it for no other reason than who knows. They just want to. Some particular breeds will swarm more than others. Where's your Russians? Russians are a big swarmer. Africans, 10 on the swarm scale. Your Africanized bees. So the rest of them, you can see Italians are 2, Cordovan, Caucasian. They're a lot smaller. So sometimes it's the breed. Sometimes it's just the queen. Just sometimes. So your swarming is imminent in your hive. It is going to happen. You're past the point of possibility. Swarm queen cells, there they are. These are your supersedure cells. They're kind of in the middle of the frame. This is when they're replacing a queen that's gone, the queen is failing. These are your swarm cells. Swarming is imminent when you see bearding. So bearding is normal in Texas, right? When it's hot in July, it's 90 degrees at 11 o'clock at night. You may see this on your hive. You know, I call it hanging out on the back porch. They're trying to escape the heat. They're just trying to cool down. When it's a cool day, when we're still having cool nights like we are tonight, this is a little more indicative of a swarm rather than just too hot. Swarming is imminent when your queen has stopped laying. It is really hard to tell a 3-day-old egg from a 1-day-old egg. It is really difficult. If you see only hatched out larvae and no eggs at all, you know your queen has stopped laying. If you can find your queen, but you don't see any eggs, it's happening. It's imminent. They're going. So in your environment, did I miss one? Nope. In your environment, favorable swarm conditions are lower honey flow, high pollen flow, which is kind of what we're seeing a lot in my area right now, high pollen flow. This is all your pollen. That shiny stuff is your nectar. Several days of sunny over 70-degree weather. So our phone starts ringing with swarm calls after about 2-3 days of nice weather. They just start pouring out of the hives. Swarming season. Spring is the most popular time for your primary swarm. Primary swarm is when your old queen leaves and they hatch a new queen to stay with the old hive. This is usually kind of April to May is right now. Right now, swarm calls. A friend of mine had 5 last week. Summer fall swarms are usually a new queen leaving. This is your secondary swarm. And fall swarms in Texas may be Africanized bees from wild hives, and this is because they're on that 10 scale of swarming. They're going to swarm more often than any other hive, and so they'll swarm later in the year as well, whereas other bee breeds may not. And so this is a swarm. This is a swarm I got called to, and this is kind of an interesting story because I went to go and pull these down, and they had actually started making comb. This wasn't a swarm. This was actually a hive that had started. Sort of have to get in the middle of it and realize what's going on and change directions, kind of changing horses in midstream. But we managed to do that. So what are some of the things you can do? Pre-swarm hive management. During swarm season, you want to inspect every 7 days. And this is because your queen is going to, your queen cell is going to hatch out. After it's capped, it's going to hatch out in 8 days. So if you're checking it every 7 days, you're hopefully going to catch that queen cup before it becomes a queen cell. You want to split your hives with your large population sooner than later. You know, I looked at the weather, and it's going to rain again on Saturday. I don't know how many of you work and are trying to do splits on the weekends and at night. It's hard. It's been raining every weekend for the last 6 weeks. If you can get it done, however you can get it done, that's going to be better for you. You want to make sure your hive is not honey bound. That's checking your super, checking your deep. Requeen. So this is kind of falls along with what Blake was saying too. New queens can be a little less likely to swarm than older queens. So requeening every year is a pretty good idea. That can help on your swarms too, on your swarm behavior. You want to replace your brood frames with empty comb. If you replace them with frames that have drawn out comb but it's empty, again, gives your bees something to do, gives your queen a place to lay, and makes them feel less crowded. And you can move a frame, if you're running too deep, so you can move a frame of